episode of the Vet Hustle. I think today's going to be a good one today. Actually, I've interviewed this guy on my personal podcast. We had a great conversation then, and I know that we're going to have a great conversation today. Welcome to the show, Adam Peters. How you doing today, man?
Doing great, man. Glad to be back.
No problem, man. I'm a little flattered that you remember me, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. That makes me feel good. Like,
Man, I try to remember everybody I talk to, and dude, how could I not, man? We had such a great conversation, like two very different people from very different backgrounds who live very different lives, and I thought we had an amazing conversation, man.
for sure, man, it was, and I still think about that conversation that we had before. Being able to do this podcast now has given me the space to invite you back on the podcast and talk on here and talk a little bit more about military life a little bit, and then after service. So all the great things that you're doing in the world today. So
Trying to do great things, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna pretend like I haven't talked to you before and ask you where you're from.
So originally I'm from small town Indiana, southern Indiana, right on the Illinois-Kentucky border.
Okay. And I was growing up in Indiana.
Man, it's farm living, man.
Mm.
There's nothing there but cornfields and some rolling hills, and it's the Great Plains state, man. It's just flat and poor. When I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, not a lot of money and just space between. So riding my bike literally everywhere, miles and miles and miles. Just kind of, I think it was awesome though too, man, because it was kind of safe, right? So as a kid, we were basically locked out of the house from sun up to sundown. You know what I mean? Like when the light comes on, the dusk till dawn light comes on, that's when you got to be back home. And so, pretty grateful for that, man, because it let me be outside and be in nature, but also use my imagination, play soldier, play cowboys and Indians, that kind of thing. Everything was a weapon. A stick was a sword or a gun or whatever. And so that's just kind of how it was, man. But for me, I very much knew that there was a bigger world out there, and kind of one big reason why I ended up joining the Army.
Army, yeah, I was going to ask you, start transition to the Army. So when did you go into the Army?
Yeah, so I actually joined in July 3rd of 2002 as a junior in high school. I was actually trying to do something that a guy a grade ahead of me had done. He went to basic training between his junior and senior year that summer. And he was also on the wrestling team. He's one of the kids I kind of looked up to. He's really good. And I saw the improvement in him from what he was his junior year to going through basic training and then coming back to high school and wrestling again our senior year, or his senior year, my junior year. And I was like, man, I want to do that. Like that just unlocked something for him. And unfortunately, I missed it by a day. If I would have gone a day earlier, I would have been able to do it. However, I just spent a year on the delayed entry program. Went through my senior year, and then less than a month after I graduated, I was at basic training.
So how was it? I mean, how important was that to go to basic training that fast after graduating high school?
I mean, for me, it was pretty important, man, because I did it just enough to get by to play sports in school. School bored me. Not that I'm unintelligent, not smart, don't get it. I love to learn to this day, and I'm building 3 companies, so you can't say I'm dumb. But school wasn't for me, man. I'm not meant to sit in a classroom 8-9 hours a day and be preached at and have, because I don't grasp something the way that it's being taught, then you're kind of ostracized, and, they pay more attention to the smart kids who get it the first time, and you don't get that extra help or whatever you might need, or just have it presented to you in a way that like resonates with you, which I think is what teachers kind of fall short on. So for me, it was really important because I knew college wasn't an option for me. We didn't have money. I didn't have the grades to get a scholarship. And let's be honest, in Poseyville, Indiana, there's not a lot of scouts coming to look at you for sports. Over like a class 2A school. So like they don't think there's any talent down there. And, it is what it is. So I just wanted out, man. I knew there was a big world out there. That's real big reason why the recruiter got me hook, line, and sinker was like, you'll be PCSing, which is a permanent change of station or just moving every 2 or 3 years. And I was like, sweet, like adventure. I get to see and experience places I would have never considered living or whatever. And that's always appealed to me. So it was really important.
Yeah. So a lot of times I ask people that come on the podcast, like actually going to boot camp, how was your mental state? Were you scared when you got into boot camp, or was like, what did I get myself into?
No, man. You got to remember, dude. So I was barely 18 years old, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
still a know-it-all kind of teenager. I was
Mm-hmm.
in shape, right, because I played high school sports. I thought it was a joke. I really did. I thought it was funny when they were yelling at us till I got punched in the gut, and I was like, I probably shouldn't laugh anymore. You know what I mean? Like getting punched in the gut sucks. I mean, it was definitely kind of a change, right? Like, but it wasn't anything too hard. I was used to getting yelled at football practice or on the wrestling
Mm-hmm.
team, and the only one season that I had that was kind of chill was track, and that was just to get access to the weight room and kind of stay in shape for the other two. So
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of a joke, man. I always said my whole career, like, man, knowing what I know now, I'd go back to basic training in a heartbeat. It's just that's what it was. And so no, I wasn't scared. What really sucked is when I got to my first duty station. That was a big wake
Okay.
up call. Why that sucked so bad is because I got there somewhere between 2 weeks and a month after they had come home from the invasion of Iraq, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought bullying was bad when I was in school. Boy, bullying was real bad with a bunch of adult combat veterans in the infantry who I don't have. Back then we were still in the BDU uniform, so in order to wear even a flag on your left shoulder you had to have been deployed before. So now I'm in a unit where everybody's got a flag and a combat patch and a
Mm-hmm.
CIB and probably an EIB and some airborne wings, and I've got nothing. And it was miserable. It was pretty terrible. I wanted to quit. I wanted to go home. I just wanted to be done with the army for probably my first year and a half.
That's very interesting. I actually never, I've done this podcast a couple times, but nobody's never talked about the bullying side of the military. I guess the accomplishments. It's just like that's very interesting.
I mean,
So
I,
how
I
do
don't know. I don't know if I'd call it bullying, man. Like I think it's kind of it's a rite of passage, right? Like there's a certain mentality that you have to be a good infantryman, and you have to build thick skin and kind of learn how to compartmentalize your emotions,
you?
because literally the job description in the TM says that you are to close with and destroy the enemy, right? Like so
Mm-hmm.
you really do need to be kind of toughened up for that, and it's just a whole nother level with guys who have been to war, particularly the invasion, and I can't speak to what that was like because I wasn't there, but I know the stories that they were telling. And,
Mm-hmm.
how could they not have looked at you as less than, because you hadn't proven anything yet. I would prove myself 11 months later when I was on my first deployment, and then that kind of goes away. But yeah, it's very real, man. And look, the Army over the course of my career changed its rules on hazing and all of that. I don't think it was a good idea. I think that's built in for a reason, and I think it kind of weeds out the weak, and we don't want weak
Mm-hmm.
in our military, man. I'm sorry. It just to this day I still feel that way.
That's very interesting. I think in society we get soft on things to help people, live life, but things are meant to be hard. Life is meant to be hard sometimes. If you can't, you know, just get up and encourage yourself to keep going and say, whatever, like, I'm gonna quit. I don't want you on my team. Like,
Yeah,
it's
particularly in the military. Like your job is to defend the nation. I don't want a
yes.
bunch of people who need to be coddled, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying anything bad about those people, but like you got to realize less than 1% serve. Of that 1% are infantrymen, and so
Mm-hmm.
like it's a pretty exclusive kind of club, and just by logic, not everybody's going to have what it takes. You know what I mean? Like it is the way that it is for a reason.
For sure, for sure. Since the last time I talked to you, I've have a I had a brother that was in the Navy. My youngest brother just turned, well, he'd be 20 in about a week or two, but he just joined the Navy. And it's funny talking to him pre boot camp and then post boot camp, and he sounds like a different person now. Like I love talking to him. I love getting his perspective on things. It's just talking about one time he was in boot camp. He was like, hey, I don't feel good sometimes, but they're not gonna feel sorry for me like Mama did. Like if I don't feel good, like I still got to do what I got to do. Like
Yeah,
they're not looking at me like Mom did. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta go out and do my things. When I heard that, I was very impressed with him and his way of thinking. And I was like,
yeah,
yeah, that's a boy I can get down with.
yeah. So it's kind of the old man up attitude, right? Nobody's here to save you. You gotta think for yourself and get through it
Mhm.
yourself and rely on yourself and your teammates.
And I like that a lot. Now, fortunately for him, like he's in Norfolk. My family is in Virginia, so he's in Norfolk, Virginia, but he's still close enough. We could drive home, but he's far enough where he's on his own. So I like that about him.
Yeah,
He's
for
about to
sure.
get his first taste of sea, maybe in a couple of days. So he's about to go out on sea and everything now. So it's
Bro,
like,
he could have that shit. I ain't interested in being on. I'm too damn big to be on a ship, man. Like, no, thank you. Like, hey,
yeah,
more power to you, Navy guys, because definitely not for me.
yeah. I think my older brother. I mean, well, he's not older. He's the second. I'm the oldest. He's the second oldest. And like, it's something about being on a cruise that just triggers him from being in the Navy.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that a lot from people in the Navy, man. But I mean, you got to take the good with the bad. Like, yeah, so you're stuck on a ship for 6 months, but you're also traveling the world, going to all kinds of cool ports, meeting all kinds of people that you probably never would have met. I mean, they all have their goods and their.
For sure. It's funny to see them go through it because I'm in a wheelchair, but I was the one that probably would have went to the military because, I like structure in my life. Maybe I wouldn't have been like that if I was an able-bodied person, but like me right now, I like structure. This is what I got to do. If the less I got to think about things and I just got to do it, it's just better for me. Like, just tell me what I got to do and I'll do it.
Yeah, right, right, yeah.
It's like, the less I got to think about something, I don't want to overthink about stuff. Like, you tell me to do this and I'll do it. And I would,
You still can, brother. You still
yeah.
can. You just got to build it for yourself now.
And I'm trying to. I'm starting a cleaning business, like a remote cleaning business, where I subcontract. I'm slowly but surely doing that. I wanted to. Hopefully, it'll be launched in about a month. So, but I'm doing that. Just trying to make some money for myself and look out for. My whole thing is with elderly and disabled people. Like, I want you to have the dignity to have a clean home.
Yeah,
Sometimes you can't get down on your hands, knees, and scrub, and that's fine. And I still I want, the world is better when people have dignity, feel like they're
yeah,
respected. So
100%, man.
if I could change the way people think and their mentality just by that, then I'm doing my part in the world.
Rock on, brother. Love that, man. I'm serious, man. Dude, I'm telling you, like, I had a lot of struggle post military. A lot of us go through it. It's part of what I do now and advocating for better transition out of the military. Being in service of others has been the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. Just whether that's sharing knowledge with those that are transitioning out or coaching calls or just whatever that looks like, man, just serving something bigger than yourself, like what you're trying to do for the disabled or elderly folks to give
Mm-hmm.
them their dignity back. Like, look, I can't relate to your situation. I've never been in a wheelchair, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
like, I've got buddies who lost legs and I watched how they had to adapt their lives. And you're right, man. There's really is something to empowering, people who to get their dignity back. And I admire the hell out of what you're doing, man. And
Mm-hmm.
stay the course, brother, because it'll change your life in ways that you never imagined.
For sure. Like, it's always a why. Like, why is always, obviously I want to support myself with money and financials be great, but like, what's a why? Like, what's that why that's going to impact others?
That's right.
That's pretty much it. Like, I don't feel like if you don't have a why that's going to impact people, then it doesn't matter.
100%, man.
It doesn't matter. Like, we're supposed to be like helping the world be better, and not like being selfish and taking money for ourselves. But like, what can we do to uplift our neighbor?
That's it, man. That's it. And dude, I'm telling you, when you start doing that, like, as you already know, it's just the way you feel in here. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like money don't buy that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can have all the money in the world and still be empty, not feeling that. And it's because you, like we're saying, you're not in service of others. You're not like, what is the why? Like, what is my
Mm-hmm.
bigger purpose here? How do I give back to humanity?
For sure, for sure. So you talked about transitioning and helping out other veterans and things like that. Talk me to the day after you're not in service. Technically, you're not in the military anymore. Like, what are
Yeah, man.
you feeling?
Lost, lost, confused, very much like I don't know who I am. So my
Mm-hmm.
career ended at 13 years. I was medically retired after 4 deployments. A lot of people probably listening to this on the military side will understand. As an Army guy, almost 50 months of combat time. So yeah, the number of deployments sounds low, but I rival a lot of people with 10, 15 deployments that only did 3 months. You know what I'm saying? So the time there, and I was a career guy. So last year in June would have been my 22. That was my original retirement date. Dude, it just all happened so fast. Come back from deployment, have a surgery, have another surgery. You can't be in the Army anymore. Start the med board process, and then you're out. Like, I didn't really have time to really understand or grasp what that meant. And so, what I've identified doing the work that I do now over the last couple of years is there's three main things that we lose when we get out. It's our identity, our sense of purpose, and our community or our network. And I think all of those should make sense to everybody listening. And the big one is your loss of identity. I mean, if you think about it, from the age of 17 to the age of 30, my identity was the best infantryman in support of the global war on terror for the United States Army. I didn't have a college experience away from authority where I was allowed to go, develop some kind of identity as, the class clown or the party guy or the shy guy or the jock or whatever. I went straight into kind of the ultimate responsibility of learning how to lead teams, how to save lives, how to take life, all that kind of stuff. So that's a huge part of it, man. And I think we all fall into that trap for any length of time in the military. I'm willing to bet that your brother's going to go through it. If he hasn't already, it's going to be a big challenge for him. And so that day I got out, man, I'll never forget it. I went, picked up my DD-214, which is your paperwork, that says you're honorably discharged or retired. I got my retirement certificate and the flag, and I took it back to my apartment. And it was like right around lunchtime. So I felt like I should be going back to formation, for after lunch and then back to the company to lead and do work. And that was it, man. Just stuck there, sitting in my apartment at 1:00 in the afternoon. Like, now what? What do I do now? And to your point, you said you're a guy who likes structure, man. Think about me. I had 13 years of structure. I had 13 years of somebody always telling me where to be, when to be there, what to wear, when I was going to eat, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's just gone overnight. And so I was just lost, dude. And I stayed lost for a long, long, long time.
And how did you start finding yourself or finding your way after being lost for a very long time?
That's a really good question, man. And it kind of all goes back to the work that I do now. So when you transition out, they kind of preach to you, use your GI Bill, go to school, get a degree. You're a veteran. Everybody's going to want to hire you. You'll make six figures, smack you on the ass. Congratulations, you're successful. So I did that, man. I spent the first 2 years out. Well, really 2.5, but it took me about 6 months to get all the paperwork done and cost me a lot of money that I needed to go to flight school. So I used my GI Bill to go to flight school. So I've got an AAST and professional pilot. I'm also a licensed commercial pilot. And then from there, I went and was like, based upon kind of the aviation career that I wanted, I needed to go get my bachelor's degree to kind of make myself more competitive so I could do some of the private international flying that I wanted to do. So the next 2 years was transferring to a different school and working on my bachelor's degree. So for 4 years, kind of lived what I call like this false transition, because the mission was to get the degrees, to then go and get the career. After I graduated with my bachelor's in business and psychology, I was like, now what? Like, back to that same feeling, because I didn't have a mission anymore. And look, I'll be honest with you, man. I thought flying was my dream. I really quickly through school got burnt out and saw that was definitely not my dream. Flying is one of the coolest things I've ever done. It will always be a part of me. I will always go back to it, but I won't do it for anybody else. I won't work in the industry because it just ruins it for me. After I graduated with my bachelor's, there's a program called Voc Rehab. At the end of Voc Rehab, there's extra money that you can get while you're applying to different jobs. So I ended up in the insurance industry, and I ended up on the shady side of insurance. I was in rural Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and North Florida, selling final expense, which is just whole life insurance, to the poorest 1/3 of Americans. And I mean, people so poor that they can't afford to fix a giant hole in the roof and a tree's growing through it. But there's an Alfa Romeo in the driveway and Gucci purses on the picnic table. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So I'm selling an intangible product that is really meant to set your family up when you pass away, or at least cover the expenses of what your funeral is going to be. I'm trying to sell this to people who don't understand how money works.
Yeah.
So, I'm also asking them to pay, somewhere between $100 and $300 a month in a premium that they can't afford. They can barely afford to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I felt scummy, man. So I did that for a few months and literally went broke because I didn't know what I didn't know about the industry. I didn't know about chargebacks and how to massage a book of business and all of that stuff. So I left that, went to work from home health insurance sales. Not as lucrative, way less scummy. Just they turned my lead money off for about 10 days. So I drove around with my resume and got a job at an Allstate agency, which is property and casualty insurance. That was going well. Stayed there for about 8 months until he stiffed me on about $6,000 in commissions. And I just tendered my letter of resignation. And that's the last real job I had, man. I was just so jaded I was never happy doing anything in the insurance industry. So again, just no purpose. The purpose was to make money. And that's not enough of a purpose for me to live a good life. For the next probably year and a half, I went back to flight school to get some more certifications. I was kind of going to acquiesce to the fact that I'll just make a career out of being a pilot. So I was back in learning how to become an instructor. I was a week away from the check ride, and I tore my bicep tendon in my left arm. So that set me back another 6 or 8 months, kind of sent me way even further down, closer to rock bottom. Grabbed a job working on the sod farms, just cutting grass. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had because you show up at 7 in the morning, you get your assignment, you put your headphones in, listen to books and podcasts all day. Zero responsibility. Nobody messes with you. You never get in trouble for anything. Just do your job.
Right.
And it paid $1,000 a week after tax, so really not bad money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I ended up having to have that bicep tendon surgery, so that kind of disqualified me. I had to have it twice because the first surgeon messed me up. And dude, I was really, really in a bad place. And then I got picked up to go to Peru to do ayahuasca, which changed my life. And so 2 years ago, this month, I went to Peru for the first time, sat with ayahuasca for 3 ceremonies, came back and started building everything that I've built to this point. So the AI company, the plant medicine retreat, the podcast, and the veteran advocacy stuff. It's really just started creating opportunity for myself. That's when I really started to find myself. Kind of ayahuasca took away a lot of the childhood trauma that I grew up with, a lot of the the stuff about not thinking I'm smart, not thinking I'm capable, made me relive all the childhood bullshit that I had to deal with, but also showed me that I'm better than that. That's not who I am. I don't know, man. Things just started coming to me. The veteran advocacy stuff, like, hey, how can we stop the 22 a day? Like, what can I do to make a difference? And I just started running with it, started putting myself out there. And here we are, man, doing stuff like this with you, getting a chance to go speak to the secretary of the VA in Congress and actually, have a chance at making real policy change, have an AI company with clients, generating revenue, partnered with a plant medicine retreat to share the same experience that I had that unlocked so much for me and have purpose again.
Man, it's you said a whole lot, but I'm gonna talk about that purpose for a minute. Like, having purpose means everything.
It does. It really does.
You can be down and depressed and find your purpose, and you're like, oh yes, like you literally feel a tangible feeling in your body when you got that purpose. And
It's so right, man, because for the first 2 years of building all of this and creating opportunity for myself, I made no money, and I was actually happy about it. I was happier than I had ever been with no money coming in. Now, that doesn't make sense to a lot of people because they're so attached to money, but it's the purpose, it's the giving back, because I've lived and walked a mile in these vets' shoes, and they're still walking around confused. I can share my lessons learned and my knowledge and my philosophies. And I can get the DMs and the emails and the comments that say, hey, man, thanks for putting to words what I've been feeling for so long. This truly helps me understand kind of what I'm going through. And it made me make a decision that may not have benefited me. And that's the coolest thing in the world, man. Like you said, you get that feeling.
it's the best feeling in the world. Talk to me about, what is it, ayahuasca? Am I saying right?
Yeah,
talk to me about that, because here's the thing. You were talking about it on my podcast, and I didn't know too much about it, so I didn't ask questions about it. But somebody saw a clip and started asking questions about it. I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I didn't know too much about it. I didn't ask questions. I didn't, to even talk to you about it. So, like, talk to me a little bit about that and
Yeah,
what
man.
that does.
So ayahuasca is a psychedelic. It's plant medicine. It's two plants. It's the ayahuasca vine and the chacruna leaf. And so the chacruna leaf is what houses the DMT, and the ayahuasca vine has the MAO inhibitor that allows the DMT to work. We all produce DMT in our bodies. It's kind of the death chemical, if you will. But man, it's very ceremonious. It's a whole retreat. It's a week long. I just came back from another one actually
Mm-hmm.
last week, and it's I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's like 50 years of therapy in 3 nights. It
Wow.
shows you the deepest parts of yourself. It forces you to face them and make sense of them and actually move past them. Helps you regulate your emotions. We know for a fact that it rebuilds neural pathways in your brain so you can relearn learned behavior. You don't have to be stuck in that cycle from mostly childhood trauma, but other life trauma, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. And so it's just amazing, man. I mean, like for me, the first time I went down there. I'm 6'3". I weigh 200, and I think I was 209 pounds this morning when I got on the scale. I went down there the first time I was 321 pounds. So
Wow.
lost over 100 pounds since then. I wasn't motivated to do anything in my life whatsoever. I didn't feel like I had a place in this world, and like really the world would not miss me if I was gone. And it really flipped all of that for me. It just I don't even really know how to explain it. It's just like I got home from the first trip and I just started taking action, which has built everything that I have now. And I think it's a great alternative to all the pills that the VA wants to give you and all the antidepressants and all the antipsychotics and all the shit that just keeps us sick, man. I really think that if
Mm-hmm.
you're struggling and, veteran, civilian, first responder alike, I don't care who you are, if you're fed up with the current system and big pharma and big food, I would encourage you to do a little bit of research. Don't do a lot because you'll ruin it for yourself. You'll end up setting expectations instead of intentions, and that's a whole nother mess or whatever. But start looking into it and just listen to some of the stories. There's plenty of published articles out there about my story, even more in depth and all of that. And just see what it might be able to do for you. And I get it; it's taboo, it's scary. You've been told your whole life that it's a Schedule 1 drug and you should stay away from it. I think that's all
Mm-hmm.
bullshit, man. Really, the best way I can describe it is it turns you into somebody who opens their mind and thinks with a ton of clarity. And I think that's the opposite of what the people who run the world want from us. That famously
Mm-hmm.
Carnegie said. I think it's Carnegie, one of the old school banker guys responsible for the Industrial Revolution that said, I want a nation of doers, not of thinkers. And I think there's a big reason for that because when you go and do plant medicine, man, it really expands your mind. It gives you a new perspective and a lens to look at the world through. It fills you with love and compassion, lifts the weight off your shoulders that you've been carrying, lets you realize that you don't have to fit into this box that society is shoving you into, that it's very possible for you to make your own way in this world. I think I'm a good example of that, man. From building a personal brand to partnering with an ayahuasca retreat to starting an AI company and getting clients. Like, I would have never thought any of that was possible for myself.
But you're doing it. That's what's up.
Yeah.
There was another topic that we talked about from our interview there. I still think about. I can't remember the exact number, but you talked about the number of deaths in the Middle East, the war, compared to the people that came home and took their lives.
Yeah, man. It's almost double or triple probably at this point.
Mm.
The number of lives taken by their own hand stateside after compared to what we lost the whole 20 years of Iraq and Afghanistan. It's wild.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, Adam. I still think about that. Like, I don't remember the number, but I still think about that being so wild. And it's just like, how do we? Like, I don't even know how to even join. Like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I want to do something. Obviously, I do podcasts, and this podcast has helped me, you know, do this because I get to talk to veterans every day. And,
Yeah.
sometimes they're doing what you do. Sometimes they're authors. Sometimes they're CEOs. But, like, I just, when I get a chance to say, like, you aren't alone. Obviously, certain things, like, I have not been through what you have been through. Um, my life has not been that great either, and I still have to persevere and fight through.
Yeah.
I sometimes when like you aren't alone, hit me up. I don't have to talk. Talk to me. I have to say anything.
And that you talk about, you want to help, you want to know what you can do. All the data I've got, just over doing this for 2 years, that's exactly what you should be doing, man. Make yourself available to be an ear, because what I find when I'm talking to vets most of the time is they just want to be heard. They just need somebody to vent to who understands. And look, I'm here to say, Lucas, just because you're not a veteran doesn't mean, and for those veterans that are listening to this, I would actually encourage you to reach out to Lucas, because I don't know his whole story. I don't know why he's in a wheelchair, but I know that that brings a ton of adversity and a lot of the similar mindset that we may be carrying with us when we get out. So he can relate to you because he's been through the similar struggle with a major life transition. And so that's how you help, brother. Honestly, man, just being in the ear, making yourself available, and showing people that you're genuinely listening to them and not just throwing willy-nilly advice out there. Like you said, you don't even have to speak, man. It's super powerful. And I think it's one of the best things that we could be doing is our brothers and sisters just opening their ears to other brothers and sisters. But whether they served or didn't serve, I think you're a prime example, man. I think a lot of vets could relate to your life story and what you've been through. And I don't even know your whole story. You know what I mean? That's just me being transparent, because you have faced a level of adversity that most have not. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that uniquely qualifies you to be that ear and to understand what they're saying to you, and really be able to feel that for them and take some of that off of their shoulders. I think that's the best way anybody can start getting involved. Beyond that, man, I don't have the answer because it's such a complicated problem. I just know that I keep doing what I do and you keep doing what you do. And if there's 50 more of us who figure out a way to just reach people and let them know that we're available, I think it makes a difference.
For sure, for sure. I be trying. I'm a cigar smoker, so like, sometimes you get to talk to people and they get to not tell their business, but like, they feel they can trust you and they get to talking to you, and they may share some things with you that they won't share with other people. And I feel privileged and honored when they do that to me. So, like I said, I don't have to talk. I don't have to give you advice. I'm just like, hey, man, I understand.
Dude,
I understand.
yeah, like being a cigar dude, that's an excellent environment, man. I didn't realize. I went to my first cigar lounge a year ago at 30 or at 39 years old. I'd never been to a cigar lounge, and I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, just go into a cigar lounge, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It wasn't an expensive cigar. It was really good. My buddy took me, and just having various conversations with other grown men, because it is men, it's all men. We're not going to go there with it, but I didn't realize how much I needed that in my life. And I didn't realize how much more open I was in that scenario, talking about things to strangers that I don't often talk about. So to your point, man, look, man, I'm a cannabis smoker. I love cannabis. You want to hit me up at 8:00 at night? You need an ear? I'll light a fat joint, or eat a nice edible, and I'll be here to listen to you, because I use cannabis to actually work on myself. Intention versus expectation. My intentions when I get high at night aren't I can't say always, but most of the time are to go inward and like deal with my own shit, like actually use that as a safe space to relax. Because it is a plant medicine. Weed is a plant medicine. There are nights where, like tonight, I'm just going to get real high just to escape. Like, and I think that's okay because I manage that. But, again, there's all kinds of other modalities out there. You don't have to be on pills. Now, I'm not advocating for anybody to get up in the morning, wake and bake, and be high all day. I think I don't agree with that. Look, I do know some people, I think they're outliers, who actually are better people when they're high all day, and they function better as human beings. I don't think that's everybody. I think 99% of people are a lot like me. Instead of having a drink at night, just go have a half a joint or something. I mean, if you got a real high tolerance, smoke a gram. I don't know, whatever that looks like. But I'm telling you, like, start flipping that switch and like set an intention. Okay, why am I getting high? Well, I'm getting high because it makes it easier for me to deal with all the shit that goes on in my head. And bro, I'm telling you, I've had many a nights where I sit here and toke with a fellow veteran, and the
Mm.
shit that will come out of these people, it's so cathartic, it's so healing, it's so
Yeah,
good.
for sure, man. And it's all about the community. Like, I'm a big community guy. I don't care if I'm part of the community or not. Like, we as people, we should not be living life alone. Like,
At all.
I hate when people say I can just vibe by myself and do this and this and that. Like, sure, for a time, but like
Yes.
all the time, no. Like, we need to be around people. Like, as much as I like to be around people, I love my alone time. I love my quietness. We need community, and I just don't believe when people say I vibe alone and I could do this. Like, yeah, there's a time and a place for that, but like, no.
Well, to your point, I'm with you because look, so I just learned this about myself, and I hope people can take a lesson from this. I think you may even be like me. I'm a social introvert, and what that
Mm,
means is that I start my day with all the energy in the world. My cup is full, and as I talk to
mm,
people throughout the day, I drain that, I empty that cup. But at night, I need to recharge alone. That's usually
mm,
in the form of sitting on the couch, doing deep inner work on myself, meditation, a little bit of not really TV, but YouTube to learn more about what I'm doing in my companies and all of that stuff. But it doesn't mean that I would be good long term alone. I would go
mm,
nuts if I couldn't talk to people every day. And so it's this balancing act, right? Like realizing that I feel my cup is full in the mornings, and over the course of the day talking to people, I drain that. I recharge alone at night. Well, that's a pretty important dynamic if you're building a relationship with other people, because
yeah.
you know you're going to have a woman in your life and she's going to want to know about your day. She needs to know that like you're not really the type that's going to talk about your day because you need to recharge alone. And this is the kind of shit that like really what you need to be focused on in order to heal after a major transition is like just understanding who you are at your core. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
you're right, dude. We all need a community. I have not gotten here by myself. There are, in fact, I just ran a 15-day series while I was in Peru on LinkedIn about the 15 people who have helped me the most along my journey and why. Just giving credit where credit is due. To be an example, like you said, we all need community, man. We
Mm-hmm.
all need it. And those assholes that are saying, "Oh, I vibe better on my own," yeah, for a minute, but I guarantee
Mm-hmm.
you, a week goes by and you're itching to get out of the house and have human
Right.
interaction. And if you let it go any longer than that, then you probably go out and you do some degenerate bullshit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't have great relationships with significant others. You probably treat, in my case, in my younger years, treat women like shit, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever that looks like. It's because you don't vibe alone. You need people in
Yeah.
your life.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And you talked about your cup being filled up. Like, some of my closest friends, they know me and they get me because like I be laughing and joking, and I just get serious and I be on my phone like, "Oh, Luke done checked out. He checked out now." Like, they
Yeah.
know when I check out. It's funny because they know me so well. It's like, all right, can't deal with him. He
Yeah.
checked out right
And
now.
they don't take any offense to it because they know who you are as a person. And like I think you need to know that about yourself too, like in
Mm-hmm.
anything that you're doing, right? So I'm not like most people. I can sit in front of this computer and do work for 12, 14 hours a day. That's not healthy for me. There comes a
Yeah.
point where I've got to just cut it off and walk away and understand
Mm-hmm.
like that's actually better than me, not refilling my cup and trying to just push through and grind it out. Like that's not really doing me any favors. So like understanding who you are as a person and how you recharge and all that, super.
Yeah, for sure. I like that a lot. So, I mean, I definitely enjoyed this conversation a lot, and
Yeah, man. Always, always.
I just want to. Is there something? Give you the floor for a minute. If there's something that you want to talk about that we haven't covered, or anything.
Yeah, man. I just want vets and really anybody. Look, man. Just because I'm a veteran doesn't mean that this doesn't apply to civilians and your
Mm,
own life experiences. Like, if you're in a bad place, don't do what you're thinking about doing. Reach out to somebody and truly ask them for help. And like I said, man, there's a lot of us out here doing this work. There's a lot of people who understand you don't need advice, you don't need a mouthpiece, you just need an ear. And I
mm-hmm,
think you'd be surprised if you could find somebody to dump your shit onto who understands and who gets it, who's not going to throw meaningless, useless advice at you who's just going to listen. So I'd encourage you to get out of your own way. Stop thinking that asking for help is weak. In fact, it's the absolute strongest thing that you can do. And just actually ask for help, because I promise you you're going to get a lot more of it than you even knew was possible if you find the right.
For sure. I like that a lot, man. Well, Adam,
Yeah,
this is the
brother.
second time I get to talk to you, man. I hope it's the third and fourth and fifth time I get to talk to you.
Anytime, man.
I definitely enjoy talking to you. Like, there's one thing, I'm not looking at the camera at the time like, man, I hope this will hurry up. And, I get to it where I'm like, I got to look at the top to make sure I'm not going over, because I'm having so much of a great conversation with you.
Yeah, man. I feel the same way, dude. And you've got my contact info. Reach out to me anytime. I forget, where are you at in the world?
I'm in Cleveland, Tennessee, right outside Chattanooga.
Okay, so next time
next
time I'm up that way, I'll hit you up.
Do it, man. Let's do it up. I got some friends. We can go to a cigar lounge and hang out and enjoy life.
Yeah, brother, for sure. We'll do it, man. Thanks again for having me, man. Means the world to me. Love spreading my message and just letting people know that I exist so that they can get the help they need.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.